As a proud Yorkshireman, it's fair to say that I love a bargain. And with this last year being so financially challenging for so many people, it's good to know that there are still some watch brands who have our back, who are making creative and innovative watches that in some cases offer 90% of the experience of high horology pieces, but very often for less than 10% of the price. Take the Sega design U-Series Blue Planet, for example. If you hanker for a three-dimensional globe on your dial, and you love Grubel Forsey, but you haven't got the $500,000 for one, then this Blue Planet from Sega Design is for you. The dial has this intricate, laser-ablated 3D representation of planet Earth, and a clever and rather unconventional way of displaying the time. The more observant among you will notice that there's a complete absence of any hands. It has really strong high horology vibes. And it's not all style over substance either. I did a whole video on this watch that I'll leave a link to at the end. Check it out for a more detailed look. And what struck me most about it then was just how much engineering has gone into modifying the movement, so that the globe and the minute scale both rotate independently in order to display the time, which is indicated by the position of this compass rose. Granted, it takes some practice before you'll be able to tell the time at a glance, but the extra time that you'll need to study the dial allows you to enjoy that beautifully detailed globe all the more. And when friends and colleagues ask what you're wearing, which I can assure you they will, you can also tell them that this sub-$1,000 piece of art for the wrist was also recognised with a highly coveted award from the prestigious GPHG, the Grand Prix d'Horologie, the Swiss watch industry's equivalent of the Oscars. And as you've probably figured out by now, I'm a big fan of unconventional watches. Oddball watches, as friend of the channel George Bamford likes to call them. Like George, I absolutely adore the Girard-Perregaux casquette. I think the 1970s was just an incredible era for design. And I love those early LED watches, which are just so damn cool. Girard-Perregaux reimagined this iconic watch in 2019, and have lusted after a casquette too ever since. Not only does George own one, in 2021 he worked with the brand to create a special one-of-one version of the casquette too, with a forged carbon case, which was later sold at auction for 80,000 Swiss francs. But for those of us who don't have a spare 80,000, or even the $5,000 to $6,000 that you'd need to buy a casquette too on the secondary market, for £699, you can now buy a Bamford London Nipro Solar. The Nipro Solar is based on a forgotten design from the 1970s, and one that was clearly inspired by watches like the casquette. It too features a digital display, but thanks to modern technology, instead of plain old LED, this one is OLED, so it's brighter and sharper. In the style of a driver's watch, and just like the casquette, that display is mounted on the front edge rather than on the top, which is where you'll find a small solar panel to keep the battery topped up. Sadly, the pre-order window for the Nipro Solar has now closed, but you can register your interest on the Bamford London website, and if enough people do that, I'm sure there'll be another drop. It's at this point in the video that I'd like to remind you to hit that thumbs up button. If you can just do that now, that'd be great. So the Patek Philippe Nautilus 5811 in white gold is well north of $100,000 on the secondary market, which is of course where you're going to have to go to buy one, unless you've got a purchase history with Patek. But to scratch the itch while you're saving up, for just a shade over $500, you can have the Origin Steel from Bahrain-based micro brand Noon Official. Originally called the Montra Slim, this integrated steel sports watch has a 40.5mm case with a thickness of just 7.5mm. That thickness, or should I say lack of it, is partly due to the movement. It's powered by a Swiss Ronda quartz movement, and while I love mechanical watches, this is a perfect example of quartz being chosen because it provides an advantage. In this case, by allowing the watch to be so slim, and not just for reasons of cost. The dial is stamped with a guilloche or tapisserie-style pattern that echoes the brand's logo, and this one has Arabic calligraphy for the applied hour markers, and the printing on the date wheel. The bracelet has these really small links, so it articulates really well, and it's easy to get the right fit, even on smaller wrists like mine. The case and the bracelet feature a mixture of brushed and polished surfaces. I mean, for $500, you're not getting the finishing of a Patek, but the polished edges of the links really catch light when you roll your wrist. It also comes with this nanotech dirt-resistant rubber strap, if you want to change out the bracelet, which is really easy to do thanks to quick-release spring bars. Now, for full transparency, this watch was sent into the channel by Known Official, kind of as a thank you for featuring one of their other watches in a previous video. Now, they're not paying me to say this, and look, I'm always completely honest with my opinions, but since I've had this Known Official, it's actually spent quite a lot of time in rotation. I mean, look, I've got much more expensive watches than this, but I think this is just so slim and light and comfortable. And when you're in a hurry, because of that ronde quartz movement, it doesn't need to be wound or set. But guys, I hope you enjoyed this quick roundup of some affordable alternatives. But if you can think of any others that I should check out, then please do let me know down below in the comments. If you've enjoyed this video, then please hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content like this. And guys, I'll see you on the next one.